They were supposed to win the race, but they can't get the most important thing passed on to the next runner. And what sticks with me about that story and why I tell it on Mother's Day is that it is a great reminder for you and for me of what matters most. That how we pass the baton of faith, of love, of generosity, of goodness on to the next generation. Church, that's what matters most. It won't matter how fast I run my race. It won't matter how great my race is, how successful I am, if I don't get good at handing off to who is coming after me. So what is it that we hand our kids and our grandkids? What is it, church, that we hand to these young families and these youngsters we've seen on this platform today? What is it that we can hand to them? Let's teach our kids. Let's teach the kids that we have influence on. Let's teach the kids here in our church this challenge. It's my challenge for you for this Mother's Day. It's my challenge for us as parents. It's for us as a church. Our challenge, let's teach this phrase to our kids. Let's model this for our kids. And it's this: who you are is more important than where you go or what you do. Can I say that again? Who you are. It's more important than what you do or where you go. This is what matters most for our kids. This is what we hand off to our kids, for our nieces, for our nephews, for our grandkids, our great-grandkids, the students in our classrooms, the players that we coach, the kids in our small group. What matters most is who they are becoming. Oh, by the way, it's what matters most for you too. That's the most important thing for you too. God cares more about who we are becoming than where we go or what we do. This is why we want to be with Jesus, so that we can become like Jesus, who we are becoming, so that we can do the things that Jesus did. God cares about who you are becoming, but here's the problem. Especially as it relates to moms and dads trying to pour this into our kids. The natural pull, the natural tendency for us as parents is to be all focused on where our kids are going and what it is our kids are doing rather than who they are becoming. So let me offer you just two really quick practical suggestions today to help keep hold of what matters most, to help hand off this baton of faith and generosity and goodness to the next generation. And we've got to start here. Here's the first of the practical steps. You've got to parent. You've got to keep the end in mind. You've got to have the goal in mind. I love this this verse from Psalm 127. Kara read one of these verses just a little bit ago when she did the dedication part. It says, "No doubt about it, children are a gift from the Lord. The fruit of the womb is a divine reward." Now, the writer goes on. Listen, get this imagery. I love this imagery. The children born when one is young are like arrows in the hand of a warrior. The person who fills a quiver full with them is truly happy. Let me latch onto that metaphor that the psalm writer uses there about an arrow and a quiver of arrows. Because as a parent, that's how you feel a lot of the time, right? Like a warrior. But you feel like you don't have any weapons. You're just up there battling these kids and the whole house full of stuff. But I love this picture of this arrow, of shooting an arrow out. Shooting an arrow out of the bow. That's the idea of shooting our kids out, launching our children out. This is such a powerful picture. And let's be honest, this is one of the weirdest parts about being a parent, isn't it? That from the moment this child is born, this snuggly little ball of slime and red face and all wrapped up in the blankets, this cute little beautiful thing that you hold, from that moment on, your job as a parent is to begin preparing them to leave you. You're beginning to prepare them to be an adult, to be a productive member of the society. What a powerful image it is to remember everything we do as parents is preparing them to not need you, to launch like an arrow being shot out of a, to launch. It's a powerful picture, but it's also a very humbling picture, isn't it? Because we have parents, we have this incredible responsibility and opportunity to aim that arrow, to aim them in the right direction. But in order to aim them in the right direction, we have to have a target in mind. We have to know where we're aiming for. And it's so easy. It's so easy to get focused on the everyday and what's in front of us that we forget that we are aiming for something. We get overwhelmed by where they've got to be and where we've got to be and what's for dinner and nap times and schedules and practices and games and lessons and rehearsals and all the stuff, and it's all good stuff. And while it's important to be present in the present, it's important also to remember the future, to see where it is we're aiming, to keep the end in mind, to think about what matters most, and that's what kind of people do we want our children to become. Because who they are is more important than what they do or where they go. So what kind of people do we want our children to become? And so I'm going to aim them in that direction. Who do I want them to become? It's about their character. The question is not so much what are they going to do when they grow up. The question is who are they going to be when they grow up? Because who they are will affect everything. They will take who they are, they will bring that with them when they go off to middle school. And they're going to take who they are, they're going to bring that with them when they go into high school. And they're going to bring who they are with them into college and into their dating relationships and into their marriages and into their future families. Who they are goes with them. So who do we want them to become? God has always been more concerned with the human heart and who we've become than what the world views as success. God is not caught up in home run totals or ACT scores or flawless skin and blue ribbons. He just wants to know, are your kids becoming loving people? Are they merciful? Do they act justly? Do they stand up for the underdog and the oppressed? Are they full of integrity and honesty? Do they forgive? Do they have a teachable spirit? Are they grateful? Do they have an authentic connection to God? That's the important stuff that we've got to remember that we're aiming for. Otherwise, we're going to aim at 1,000 different things that don't matter. I recently heard a preacher by the name of Jody Hickerson talk about how she praised this scripture that I'm about to read for you in Romans 12. She praised this scripture over her children, and I thought that's such a brilliant idea when I listened to her describe this that I've started doing it for my children. This is my prayer for my children. I'm going to share it with you because I want it to be my prayer for you too. Maybe you'd pray this over your children. This is Romans 12, beginning of verse 9. This is my prayer for my kids, my girls. I hope this is your prayer for your children and your grandchildren as well. It's Paul's prayer for this church. He writes this, and make this your prayer as well. Be sincere in your love for others. Hate everything that is evil and hold tight to everything that is good. Love each other as brothers and sisters and honor others more than you do yourself. Never give up. Eagerly follow the Holy Spirit and serve the Lord. Let your hope make you glad. Be patient in times of trouble and never stop praying. Take care of God's needy people and welcome strangers into your home. Ask God to bless everyone who mistreats you. Ask Him to bless them and not curse them. When others are happy, be happy with them. And when they are sad, be sad. Be friendly with everyone. Don't be proud and feel that you know more than others. Make friends with ordinary people. Don't mistreat someone who has mistreated you, but try to earn the respect of others and do your best to live at peace with everyone. Wouldn't it be awesome if we were sending out a generation of young kids like that? Wouldn't that make this world a little bit of a better place? Listen, when we keep the end in mind, when we keep what matters most in front of us, when we keep that target, it begins to change everything. It changes the conversations that we have. It changes what we spend our time doing. It changes what we spend our money on. It even helps form how we discipline and instruct our kids. Yeah, the way you discipline your kids can help shape them and point them to be the people who they are going to become, not just the thing that they did wrong. And so in a moment of discipline, we're going to lean into it because we want you to be a person who knows how to handle conflict. We're going to lean into this because we want you to own your stuff and realize your mistakes. We're going to lean into this because we want you to know how to put relationships over being right. We're going to lean into this so we can point to the future version of you instead of just to the thing that you did that was wrong. So you keep the end in mind. Who do you want them to be? But then, moms and dads and grandmas and aunts and uncles, if we're going to teach this, if we're going to teach this, that who you are is more important than where you go or what you do, then mom and dad, we got to live this too. So that's my second practical point for you today, is that we have to be the example. We have to be the example. If we want our children to follow Jesus, then we have to follow Jesus. Think about when you get on an airplane and the plane pushes back from the gate, and the flight attendants get up and they start doing their spiel about the emergency exits and how to fasten a seatbelt and all the things they do. And then there's always that part about the oxygen mask, right? And they say, in case of a loss of cabin pressure, an oxygen mask will descend magically from the ceiling above you, and you take that on and you put it over your head and you tighten it up and you breathe normally. Right, yeah, I'm going to breathe normally at that point. But then they also say, if you're traveling with someone, with a child or someone who needs assistance, put your own mask on first and then help your child. That's against our instinct, isn't it? Because if my child's in trouble, what I'm going to do? I'm going to worry about them first, and then I'll worry about me. I'm going to take care of my kid first, and then I'm going to worry about me. So if those oxygen masks fall down, I'm putting it on my kid first, right? Why do they say put it on yourself first? Because if I'm passed out, I can't help anybody, can I? If I can't breathe it in, I can't help anybody else. I'm no good for anyone else. I've got to be living this. I've got to be breathing this if I'm going to help anyone else. If we want our kids to be the best versions of themselves that God has created them to be, then we've got to be becoming the best versions of ourselves that God has created us to be. We've got to put our mask on first. The greatest thing we can give our kids, the greatest thing we can give the next generation, the greatest thing we could give ourselves is a life-changing relationship with Jesus Christ. It's following Jesus, being with Jesus, becoming like Jesus, and doing what Jesus did. And listen, mom, dad, listen, your kids know. Oh, you might be able to fool me, but you can't fool your kids. They know. They know if work is more important than worship. They know if you really love God and love people. They know if mom and dad really love each other. They know whether or not you keep your word. They know what they watch, how you spend money. They see how much you tip. They even pay attention to how you act in traffic. They see how you treat people. They know if you're present or if you're distracted and on your phone. They know if you're trying to become like Jesus. They see if you're doing what Jesus did. We can't fool them. And listen, I'm not talking about perfection here. So this isn't to shame anyone. Don't beat yourself up. This is about progress. This is about a little bit better every day. It's about moving towards God ourselves, becoming like Jesus, being with Jesus, becoming like Jesus, doing what Jesus did ourselves. It's about moving towards that target, moving towards who it is that God created us to be. And listen, even if this hasn't been a part of your story up to this point, it is never too late to start following Jesus. It's never too late to make this a part of your story. I have seen God redeem families, restore relationships, and rewrite stories and break generational cycles. You see, what we say matters, but how we live really matters. So, if we want our kids to be the kind of person who owns their stuff, then we got to be the kind of people who owns ours and says, you know what, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I could have done that better. If you want your kid to be the kind of person that serves others, then let them see you be involved as a volunteer serving others. You want your kid to become the kind of person that turns to God when life gets difficult, then let them see you praying and turning to God when your life gets difficult. You want your kid to be generous? Then be generous. You want your kid to be honest? Then live with integrity. You want them to be the kind of person that one day would fight for their marriage? Then you fight for your marriage. Now, we all know how we've been impacted by this, right? That you are who you are, and I am who I am in some ways because of who our parents were. And they were who they were in some ways because of who their parents were. We all get this, in good and bad. We've all been impacted by previous generations. But here's the thing, and maybe we don't think about this too often. We are somebody's previous generation. Every single one of us will someday just be a snapshot in a picture album. Every single one of us, one day, we're just going to be a story about grandma, a story about that crazy aunt, a story about that weird uncle, a story about that coach, about that teacher, about that great-grandfather. So what are we going to pass on? If we want to leave a legacy, we have to live a legacy. And that is all about who we are becoming, more so than what we do or where we go. And you don't have to be perfect, right? I mean, that's fake anyway. You don't have to be perfect. We just have to be someone who's willing to try being with Jesus, trying to become like Jesus, and trying to do what Jesus did.